Welcome back. Life insurance isn't always an easy conversation, and many people don't want to think about it, let alone talk to their loved ones about it. I'm joined now by author Jane Blaufus, who has more than 25 years experience working in the insurance industry. Jane, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Jane, you were in the industry for 25 years.
Yep.
You knew the industry, you understood the industry, and thought if anything ever were to happen to you, you might be able to get through it just that much easier than someone else.
Yes.
And then something did happen to you.
Yeah, unfortunately the tables were turned and I was on the other end of the stick. My 39-year-old husband went out the door in the morning, kissed myself and my 12-and-a-half-year-old daughter goodbye, went off, and later that afternoon a police officer walked up my driveway one sunny Sunday afternoon with tears in his eyes and told me that my husband had been killed that morning in an accident. So I went in the blink of an eye from being a happily married, wife and mother to a widow responsible for a 12-and-a-half-year-old child.
What goes through your mind then at that particular moment? Like, what's the first thought that you have?
Well, the first thought I had, Pattie, was that if I didn't let the police officer in my house, he wouldn't tell me. It wouldn't
be real.
He wouldn't tell me what I knew he was going to tell me. I just thought if I could keep him in the driveway, it would be all right. So it's really hard. You can't really remember exactly what goes through your head.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that there was a lot going on around me. I could hear, hushed conversations and whatever. And so I was just trying to take it in.
Yeah, when it comes to insurance, it's one of those tough conversations to have, because I often say it's the probability factor.
Yep.
People say, it's not going to happen to me. It could happen to you, but it's not going to happen to me. But the reality is, it could happen to me. And when I was reading your story, I was thinking about the fact that when I was 9, my father was 36, and he passed away of a heart attack like that. And I remember the conversations, and we also, as a family, had insurance, but it changed the lifestyle, it changed the dynamic, it changed everything from that day going forward. One of the questions when we told people on our blog that you were coming on was, how much do you get? Like, how much is too much? How much is not enough?
Okay, that's a very good question. The one thing about the need or the amount of life insurance is it's not cookie cutter.
No.
It's not one size fits all. So you have to make sure that you look at your own situation. There's a rule of thumb in the insurance industry that's been going around for years: 7 to 10 times your annual income. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't apply to everybody. So it's just like going to the doctor. You don't walk in and the doctor says, here's a pill that fits all. You
Right.
really need to look at your own unique situation.
Now, you often talked about through the book, which I did read, and it was a great book, in terms of it was so insightful. It's both emotional, it's tactical, and it's strategic.
It's a roller
and practical.
coaster.
Yeah, it's very much a roller coaster. But what you talk about is good health is what buys insurance, not
Yes.
money.
Yep.
And buy it sooner than later.
Yes, because life insurance is medically underwritten. So they look into your medical history and they ask a lot of questions, and that's what finalizes the decision to give you life insurance or not to give you life insurance. So that's why I highly recommend that you buy life insurance as early as you can, and I believe you should buy as much as you can possibly afford.
Did you have enough?
In hindsight, I actually wish we had had a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about the life cycle, because you had a 12-and-a-half-year-old daughter,
Mm-hmm.
how does that play into how much insurance you need, or does it?
The average person in North America buys life insurance an average of 7 times in their lifetime. You start single, you get married, you have your first child, you might buy your home, you have a second child, you might buy a bigger home, you might increase in income. So there's different stages in your life where the need for life insurance is going to increase. It doesn't stay stagnant.
Mm-hmm. So that sort of speaks to, as I'm sort of thinking about this, you go through all these cycles, you want to do an annual review. Like, you really need to think about
Yep.
this, not just once every 5 years, or do it once and then forget about it.
You can't buy the policy, stick it in the desk drawer, and never pull it out again. You need to do an annual review because you need to make sure that the amount of insurance is still adequate for the situation today. Mm-hmm. It's not what happened 5 years ago. Do I still have enough life insurance today for what it is I want to do?
How important is it to have a good relationship with your insurance provider?
It's paramount. If I had not had the insurance advisor that I have, who is now almost a member of my family, I could not decide if I wanted peas or carrots for dinner when my mother asked me after my husband died. So there I was making some of the most monumental financial decisions of my entire life, and I was doing it in a fog. So I had a relationship with this man, and he took me by the hand and he helped me through.
Now, given the fact that you had so much experience in the industry, there were lessons that you learned along the way. What were the biggest lessons that you can share with us?
One of the biggest lessons I learned was read the fine print in your mortgage agreement.
Now, why is that?
Because I found out after the fact, you know, life insurance, a lot of people buy life insurance to go in and help pay off their mortgage. So I went to the financial institution, asked if I could do that, and was told I couldn't. And when I asked why, I was told that we had just renegotiated a 5-year term and we're only 1 year into it. So I was told I had to wait another 4 years.
Oh boy, that's frustrating.
Oh,
to put it mildly.
It was awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd already lost my husband, you know, suffered a devastating blow. And now the one thing I thought my life insurance was going to do for me, somebody was telling me no.
Now, you also made reference in your book about leased vehicles and understanding that. Why there?
Why there? My husband had leased a vehicle the year before, and unbeknownst to me, he had not taken out life insurance or disability insurance. When I tried to give the vehicle back, I just wanted the vehicle gone. I had one of 3 options. I could either buy it out, I could either take over the lease payments, or I could give it back to the dealer and pay the dealer to take it back from me.
What did you do?
I paid the dealer to take it back, but my life insurance agent was the agent on the group benefits package, and he negotiated a better deal for me.
Back to your point about having a really good relationship with your insurance provider.
Exactly.
But there was also the emotional side of this, and the fact is that there were lessons that you took away. Be kind to yourself, for example. Trust your gut.
Don't put on the superwoman cape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. The emotional impact, I've never felt such physical force hit me. I've never felt like that. I don't ever want to feel like that again.
No, no one does,
But
Jane.
the thing is that you go through a whole bunch of firsts. You know, it's the first anniversary, it's your wedding anniversary, it's birthdays, it's Christmas, it's everything. And I was just trying to keep it all together, and 6 months after he died, I just about fell apart.
Yeah, oh, I can imagine. I mean, seriously, because it does build up, and then it hits a point. You wrote this book, and you wrote it a number of years later. And so what are you hoping to do with this book?
I'm hoping that if we can help just one family not to have to go through what we went through, because with all my experience, all my expertise, I thought if I'm going through this, what does the average person go through? We just want to pay it forward.
You know what? I'm absolutely certain, Jane, that you've helped at least one person being here today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Okay, still ahead, we're going to be answering all of your questions. Stay with us. We'll be right back.